When the Porsche 991 GT3 RS burst onto the scene back in 2015, it was by far the most extreme road-going Porsche of any. And when it was updated 3 years later, a very high watermark in extreme Porsches was reached. What do I mean by extreme? Well, for starters, it sounds like this. And it goes like this. So what is it like to drive this last of a generation, uncompromised king of the GT cars? Well, join me, Roger Bailey, to find out. It is immediate, the realisation this 911 is different to others simply by the noise it makes. Followed by a realisation this already mighty engine is hitting harder than ever. What follows next is an affirmation that the GT3 RS, that's all GT3 RSs, are the most tactile and the most focused 911s there are and probably ever will be. And here today we have an even more performance and even more noise, the reason for which we'll talk about in just a moment. But first, let's recall how Porsche's engineers made the RS by taking the already razor-sharp 911 GT3 as the base and turning the wick right up the extreme road car scale. Wider, lower and bristling with bespoke chassis bits and aero addenda, what we have here is an utterly visceral driving experience. And it seems all that wasn't quite enough for this particular car's owner, as we find straight through pipes fitted in the form of an IPE exhaust system, turning up the volume even more, while at the same time adding even more horsepower. How much horsepower? Well, we're going to find out that in just a few seconds. Firstly, I've got to show you how a 991.2 Porsche GT3 RS goes and how this one sounds. That was 0 to 60 in just 3 seconds. Top speed? Well, you could expect 200 miles an hour in the right circumstances. So how exactly has a 911 got to this level of performance? Well, firstly, this RS flat 6 motor is a pre-emission rules, pre-particulate filters handmade unit assembled in a standalone plant and is a lot like a 911 Cup race car's engine. Then we have the chassis boasting rose jointed suspension, spring rates close to that 911 Cups and almost as much downforce as that Cup race car. Want more details? Well, see those NACA ducts on the bonnet? They suck air inwards and force it down into the brakes. Carbon ceramic brakes, of course, which remove weight from the unsprung mass. Those bonnet ducts also push cool air into the wheel arch, but high pressure air in the wheel arch is a load of air you don't want, so the wheel spokes are designed like rotors to fan air outwards, sucking it out of the arches. That clever process reduces not just drag but also lift, as does the fact that thanks to those bonnet ducts, the vents in the front bumper that would normally have been used for brake cooling can instead direct fast moving air to the underbody. Fast moving air that creates a low pressure area which aids the creation of more downforce. The wider sills create a larger flat underfloor area for the same purpose as does that rear diffuser, and I haven't even got onto the added ton of downforce that rear wing produces. And so the tech fest goes on. Aluminium structure, magnesium roof, composite body panels, active rear steer, every detail leads to 100 other things, all of which offer small improvements of performance and handling. And all added together they represent a big step change over all of the lesser 911s. While trying to describe this level of detailed engineering, it's hard to know where to begin and where to end. So perhaps we should just go and drive it. As our RS revs to its 9,000 RPM red line, the exhaust sense shrieks echoing across the countryside. Speed is piled on in an instant and your senses switch onto high alert. Now we could upset the locals here with motorsport noises like this, so let's just ease off a bit and talk more about this car's numbers. So as stock, 520 brake horsepower is stated for the 991.2 GT3 RS. However, this car has swapped out the stock exhaust for that IPE system, reducing the car's weight by 10 kilograms. And more importantly, the IPE kit and some retuning has yielded an extra 33 Newton meters of torque, meaning we are now up to 503 Newton meters of twist. And then an extra 10% in power up, but that's 10% on top of the already huge 520 brake horsepower. I think I might leave it to you to calculate this engine's total power up, but why not tell me what you've come to in the comments section below. Despite the race car-like numbers, rose jointed suspension and its ultra-sharp handling, the GT3 RS seems nearly as comfortable to drive as the lesser GT3, which in itself is surprisingly compliant. It's true to say the weight-saving thin glass and deleted sound deadening makes the cabin loud, gravel rattles in the wheel arches and the massive tyres get noisy on coarse surfaces, but you can actually hear yourself thinking here. I mean, okay, we can't expect it to feel anything like, say, the new Porsche 911 992. I mean, looking like this and coming with race harnesses, that would be a bit of a disappointment, but the way this Porsche is so thoroughly engineered and solidly screwed together, you could easily drive the RS on a day-to-day basis. I mean, it's even got cruise control and a reversing camera. Which therefore begs a couple more questions. How did Porsche make a road-biased car that can smash Nürburgring lap times and yet drive its owner around without actually inflicting any shell shock? Well, this is something I can't answer, and I guess the way Porsche keep their secrets, no one will ever find that out. Instead, we simply revel in the results, that blinding acceleration, that spine-chilling exhaust note, the phenomenal levels of grip, and the sheer excitement of taking this car out for a drive. And this GT3 RS's lucky owner Dave certainly takes it out for drives you can see more of by heading over to his channel Driving Venture. There's a link to it in my description below. So the desire and the logic in wanting to own a GT3 RS is compelling. A compulsion made stronger knowing impending laws are set to dull the voices of all future Porsche GT cars. I believe this early batch pre-particulate filter example is destined to be the last practicably tunable GT3 RS, the last GT3 RS to take a straight through exhaust system like this one. And I'm now realising that this GT3 RS could be the very last of an exciting and glorious breed. The engine power is brutal, the exhaust noise is savage, but the lightness is even better. Porsche's detail by detail approach in making this RS has given us an absurdly agile and exciting car, which drives on the road better than anything else I've sampled to date. And its desirability is made stronger knowing that Porsche only made a few GT3 RSs alongside the regular 911s, as the 2018 emission regulations forced production numbers to be limited. And those same regulations have effectively put an end to unrestricted, loud, light and fantastic cars, and the epitome of that type of car is right here. The sensational Porsche 991.2 GT3 RS. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you've liked this video. If you have, please give it a thumbs up because it helps YouTube put my videos in front of more people. And comments are always welcomed. I read every single one and I'll reply to most. And if you haven't already, why not think about subscribing? And if you hit this little notification bell, I'll send you another video.